We just had Like Pacific on, so now we're gonna go into this pop punk trend. Now we're gonna bring the home team through our podcast and kind of dissect what they've been doing on tour and such. And there was two things to mention that I noticed when I discovered home team, because Shana, you discovered home team way before I did, because I discovered home team on my For You page. There was two things I specifically noticed. One was that there's a huge influence in R&B in the vocals. Like specifically, it's just like that was just like how I felt like right off the bat. Two, Trevor Lawrence can actually not play football anymore and just do this full time.
Oh no. I can't escape.
Nah, I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, it's Brian Butcher from the home team, dude. I mean, I thought I was the only one that thought like that, and I guess not.
That's funny. To be honest, the first time I ever heard a Trevor Lawrence comparison was like when he first got drafted, and I was on a work trip. So clearly this was before COVID, and one of my coworkers was like, "That guy looks so much like Brian," and I looked at him. And I just go,
looks like.
I was like, yeah, maybe like a smaller, less athletic, less strong version of me. And everybody cracked up because he's 6'8".
Oh my God, you do.
You're both super handsome. Like that's
thank
probably,
you. I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? So like you got that going, but it's like he definitely has more of a blonde hair than you do. And
yeah, for sure.
I think one of the edits, like the color corrections in your post production for one of the music videos, it was a little bit blonder. I think it was in like some kind of like trailer or something, and I was like, "Whoa, Trevor Lawrence!" And I was like, "But somebody already beat me to it." And I was like, "All right, I'm not original. Fuck it."
That is so funny. That said, I am going to switch to the other thing that you mentioned, which was R&B vocals, and I'm so happy you said that because a lot of people don't know this, and I don't even think I've publicly said this. I do not listen to rock much anymore. I really pretty much only listen to R&B and pop. I have a bunch of favorite artists that I have been trying to draw upon, and I feel like some of my like friends and family members who I've known way before music have been like, "How come you don't like pivot to that kind of genre?" And I'm like, dude, I don't think it makes sense for me to, like with my voice, try and move into pure R&B. I think it makes more sense to continue doing what my voice is good for, which is rock music, and just take as much influence from R&B as possible, because that's going to create something that nobody's heard before. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now with the looking forward to the next batch of material.
Yeah, because I thought Tyler Carter and Shana thought Tillian. So, like, you're just a love shot between those two. You know what I mean?
Love that. That's awesome.
And then, like, even, like, Tillian solo stuff, like, the bands that tour with him, like, Andres and all of them, like, that's what it sounds like. Like, it's really not pop punk. Like, the two albums in comparison, like, because I first found you guys, I guess it was 2017 or 18, and I still haven't decided how I found you. It was either Mark from Goalkeeper booked a show for you guys at Creep Records.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was fun.
So that was that. Or, because I literally texted him, I was like, "Have you ever played with the home team?" And he's like, "No, but I booked a show." And I'm like, all right, so there's one. Or it was the pop punk playlist. I know that's not specific at all. I don't remember.
Pop Punk's Not Dead.
Yes, that one. Mm-hmm. And because, like, when I was looking you guys up, I was like, I know this song, and I know this song. Wait, I know this band.
That's awesome.
But I hadn't listened to any of your new stuff. And then comparing the two, I'm like, oh, this is so much cooler. This is so much different. Like, this isn't just a generic pop punk band. Like,
that's awesome.
I love the newer stuff.
Right on.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we have been trying to move away from the label of being a pop punk band for a long time. Unfortunately, our name is probably the most pop punk band name you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
That was not intentional. We literally, I mean, it was much. Our band name is much more representative of our sound, like 3 to 5 years ago. We just ended up doing something new and we really liked it, and it didn't really make sense to change our name. We thought about it. We definitely thought about changing our name when switching to this new stuff, but honestly, I don't know if like it's one thing for a really big band to change their name and rebrand and do all that when they have a lot of like backing, but for smaller bands it's like you kind of eliminate a lot of buzz or press or following that you had already. You kind of have to start from the beginning. So we were like, I don't think that's worth it. Let's just roll with it. It's not a bad name. I think it's like it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's going to hinder us in any way. It's just going to be like people are going to think one thing and then they're going to hear it and they're going to be like, that is not what I expected to hear.
Right.
Well, you're evolving, which is very healthy because you know what that means? That means you don't really have a shelf life, like a lot of unfortunate bands out there that have that. So, I mean,
For sure.
that's like really what really matters. And marketing, when it comes to that, I mean, like there's some bands that have changed their names and it's worked, and some bands that haven't. I mean, actually, let me think of like two bands. There's a band Turnover working. One that didn't work. Us From Outside went to Chasing Safety, which was inspired by.
I can't fucking believe you know that band.
Oh, dude, they were from
Oh my
around here.
God.
They were local.
They're from
I
around
just
here,
blew.
yeah.
I just blew both of your minds. Both of you had your mouths open.
I just
Oh
haven't
my
heard
God.
that name in so long.
That's
Yeah,
so
remember,
funny.
dude? Us From Outside had that one really good song.
The way you open up, it
yeah.
comes on. That one?
Yeah.
To lose
yeah.
part of ourselves over time. Dude, I used to bump that shit in high school so much.
Me too. Oh, we're
That's
definitely the
funny.
same age then. Yeah, I think
Well,
I think
even better, just to like move your just to prove your point even more. I didn't know they were the same band.
Chase,
So
I do remember when they switched their name, and
Yeah,
I
and-
listened to the new stuff, and I was like,
Yeah, and and all the members changed. I think it was like they were slowly like getting like removed one at a time or something. So it was like eventually it was like a whole new band with all new members and shit. Some kind of like with Rain City Drive now, how it used to be Slaves. It's Johnny
Yep.
Craig's like last band, and Matt's cool as fuck. I actually like the name, so let's see if it works out for that. But man, I was
Dude.
outside.
That's because
Yeah, 'cause
Johnny Craig's a shithead.
Exactly. Fuck.
But yeah, more on Us From Outside because I remember that their first album and their second album had two sets of singers. Like both different singers on each one, which is why for the next album they changed their name. Totally makes sense. I actually fucked with both of those albums for different reasons. When I was in high school, I listened to the second Us From Outside and first Us From Outside record. I don't remember either of the names of them, but I loved them both. I went back and listened to it like probably about a year ago, just because I one day was like, I remember that band. Not the same now. It doesn't really resonate with me anymore. That's okay. It has a special
You
place in my
grow,
memory.
you change. It's fine.
But either way, that's so funny that you brought them up.
I never bring them up ever. I never talk about them on my TikTok. Nothing. I just like it's a band that I truly appreciate because it's very rare that you see bands that like change names and shit. Like I can't think of anything else really. But like that was like the first thing that came to my mind. But I like the name though in a sense. Like and dude, like I said, evolving your sound and kind of like reaching out. So that was the first impression too. It was like because the first song that came across from my For You page was Right Through Me, and like that chorus is so fucking catchy. It's like, all right, this dude's fucking solid. I'm definitely following, putting him on the playlist, yada yada yada. But then I started like dissecting the whole album, in general, and which is now available. It came out October 22nd. Slow Bloom. There's some R&B triplet influences and shit. I was like, all right, so I wasn't wrong. Like.
Right.
Because that's I sort of heard it like mannerisms in that chorus, but like I'm not gonna like put a staple to it if it's like not true.
Right.
And then I listened to the rest of the album. I was like, okay, there's definitely some influences.
It's definitely absolutely.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
on the album.
Yeah, right. For the triplet thing, I know you're talking about the beginning of Move It or Lose It because it goes, it's just a matter of time. Everyone's got something stuck. When I wrote that, I was like, am I doing this right now? Is this Is this what we're gonna do?
It was good, dude. It
And
was really fucking good.
I'm glad you like it. But yeah, no, like I think one of my favorite artists lately has been a guy named Lucky Day. He's fucking phenomenal. He released an album in 2019 called Painted. And I think he was nominated for a Grammy from that album.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like really big, but nobody I hang out with or know knows about him. He's like, but when you look at his Instagram and listen, it's like he's huge, but nobody in my circle listens to him. And he is like literally one of my favorite artists of all time. I also am a really big Ariana Grande fan. I think that she has more R&B influence than most pop singers.
She also knows what she's doing vocally. Like
yes, absolutely.
She's such an insane vocalist. Just I know nothing about trained or untrained, but like I watch The Voice and like her as a coach, I'm like, holy crap.
She's insane.
Like you're so talented.
Yeah.
So.
It's legit. I've also been lately into a duo named Van Jess. They're super good. It's the R&B duo. Their current vibe is a little nostalgic and I really like it. But anyways, yeah, I do listen to rock. Like I'm not a poser, but
dude, it's okay.
But
Posers is an overrated word. I don't like that word, but nobody's a poser, dude. That posers is a word for someone that's like a gatekeeper. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
A gatekeeper would use that word. So if someone thinks you're a poser, they don't belong in the scene. But no, it's just something that I noticed. And I'm glad that like I nailed it around the head because I was like, dude, like this is different for sure. And like speaking of the album, it's only been out for a month, and that song single-handedly is almost touching 1 million. And from your overall streams in general, you have like combined of 10. So that's fairly quickly in numbers. So what did the label say when you were starting to receive these numbers very quickly?
I mean, I think they knew when they heard it.
Good. That's why they signed you.
I think when they heard it, they were like, yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to do well. Better Off has I think cumulative 10 million. And that was over the last 3 years, obviously.
Still a lot, dude. I think we've only accumulated like 50,000 in like 4 years. So, you know what I mean? Like,
well, a big part of it was also She's Quiet. And She's Quiet, like, yes, it got on a bunch of playlists, which is a huge reason why it did super well. But now it got removed from the said playlists like probably 6 months ago. And the plays haven't dipped, which signals to me that what it really happened was people heard it from the playlist and then saved it, and now it's just in there saved.
Right.
And I went to go corroborate that, or I went to go check that to see if that was true.
Guilty.
I did. I checked my saved because I was like, why do I know? Because if I know all the words to a song, I listen to it, handfuls of time, and I did go to my saved, and it was there.
Yeah, So I'm really happy that that's the case because that means that people liked it enough to save it from the playlist. But I went to the Spotify for Artists app to check and see if that was true and if it wasn't just the what's it called the playlists.
Oh, okay,
no,
the playlist, okay.
Editorial playlists. Is that what Spotify? Those are editorial playlists. Yes. So it wasn't just those. It was actually a huge portion was people's saved libraries. So She's Quiet has pretty much carried Better Off on its back because it has 6 of the 10 million.
Yeah, that's organic too. Like that's something that you don't really just see every day. So that's already fantastic in itself. Which makes sense because the music's fucking great, dude. So
appreciate it very much. Slow Bloom has already hit about 2.5 since being out, and I'm really stoked about that. Obviously, Right Through Me has been out for a long time, and the other singles, but I'm very excited with how it's doing. We are not too cool to admit that this is definitely the most buzz we've ever had, and we are very excited about it because we have been grinding.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
I think I joined in like 2015, and they have been a band since 2013. So it's been a minute.
I've watched something like this happen over the years with another band that's on your label, We Were Sharks. They grew just as organically as you dudes are doing, and you're technically right behind them, and like not numbers but just in general, like it seems like it's like a really good pace that both bands are doing currently.
Yeah.
I think they've been a bit, I don't know if they've been around longer than the home team has been, but I just remember seeing them like before Lost Touch was dropped on Victory Records, which is no longer a label anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
Now they're on Revival Recordings, and they just released their newest album, which wasn't too long ago. But in general respects, like it's good to see the numbers grow organically, because then you see like the internet like follow you like to a T. Like they're kind of like on your backs, like when's the next tour?
Yep.
When's the next this? How do I get merch? What's going on? It's like it's so
Which has
fucking
been very
cool, dude.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool as fuck. And I'm just glad that you guys came across my For You page on TikTok, because, like I said, that's another tool that just like really puts your numbers out there. So,
yeah, we have to lean into it more, to be honest. And one of the things on my to-do list coming back from tour is to start making a lot more TikToks, like specifically with me in it and singing. And I have a bunch of soundproofing panels up in here. This is like our little office that me and Dan, so it's Dan's desk. And I have a bunch of soundproofing panels in here so that I can record things in here without too much room noise. I don't record like album stuff in here unless it's just like a little punch-in thing. Like I have to just like fix something really quick. I can do that, but normally I'll go to an actual studio. But I'm transferring a bunch of them, and I had a bunch of extra ones into the garage that's right here. And I have a big like orange back wall in there, like a paper roll.
oh, that's where that came from the Tech Talks, because that looks great. Yeah.
So
Wow.
I really want to start doing more in there, and so I put a bunch of sound panels in there so I can record directly in there and not have to just like lip sync and fake it.
Yeah, no, the lighting looks
But
great on that wall. I think that's perfect.
Appreciate it. I used, what did I use? I think I used my Sony A7S III for that one.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's the same camera that a bunch of our music videos were shot on.
Yeah, because the music videos are definitely very well produced.
I appreciate it.
I don't know if it's your equipment or somebody else's, but it's just like kind of obvious.
I made them all.
No way! Oh, I love that.
Except for watching my friends get rich. I can't take credit for that one. That was we brought in somebody I will totally admit is better than me. He is we've been big fans of his for a long time. His name is Mark Walters. But all the other ones were me.
What do you usually use to edit? Like Logic, or not? Excuse me, not Logic. Premiere Pro, or the Premiere Pro. That's what I use for this podcast for sure. So
I do Premiere, and then for color grading, oftentimes I'll switch over to DaVinci Resolve. I like DaVinci a lot just because honestly, I would switch it to it completely if all the other elements of it were as good as Premiere as far as editing and assembling goes. But
dude,
I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's really good.
No, I have not. But you remind me of Blake from Action Adventure, because he kind of does that shit with his TikToks and his music videos. Like he does a lot of the editing and such. He actually works for, I think, the Cubs, like the baseball team.
Oh, whoa!
Like he does
sick.
like, yeah, he like actually like he's full time there, being like a producer or editor or something, like anything like film like videography or filmography or whatever the fuck, photography,
Nice.
whatever the fuck. So it's cool. But yeah, and like, dude, you're cutting out like, in general, like that's technically DIY, like not to an extreme because you're on a label, which is fine because like, you know, labels do a lot of justice every so often. But I totally applaud that, because it's so expensive to hire outside third parties to do a lot of that stuff. So if you can just do it on your own and it looks great, which it does, like, dude, like you're saving not only money, but then you can just do it whenever you have the time.
Yeah, and we can do it our way.
That too.
That was another big thing, is that a lot of times we find that when we're competing with other people as far as their vision goes, and they like, obviously a good producer, a good cinematographer, a good director is gonna want to take whatever the vision of the client is and make it the best it can be anyways, without overstepping their taste on it, unless it's something like you go to somebody because you want their style, right?
Right, for sure.
So we Yeah, we kind of just got to the point where we're like, dude, if we have the capability of doing it ourselves, I think that's better. But as I said about Mark, we love Mark's style, and he usually does rap videos, and he was also the touring videographer for Issues on their Beautiful Oblivion tour, and we were opening the Seattle date of that, and he hit us up asking if we wanted any like him to film our set. And then we were like, yeah, absolutely. And he shows up and he immediately was like, hey, so I was thinking of like which song to do. I really like your guys' song Fashion Forward. I think I could do a really good job on that one. We were like, oh, like you listen to the music and like you wow, this is very professional. And he was on top of it. And then the final product that he delivered to us was so fucking good that we were like, we can't not work with this guy again. And
Yeah,
so
exactly. He was inspired right off the bat, so he knew what he wanted to do for the video. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's rad as
So
shit.
honestly, we will probably do all of our future music videos with him, which I have no problem with because, quite frankly, that shit is a ton of work. And as much as I want to do it in house, I have so many other things that I should be doing right now as far as home team. Like, I should be doing TikToks. I am also in charge of a lot of our Patreon content.
Mhm.
Like, we do these little mini casts between me and Daniel. We'll just like do like a 15-20 minute episode. And we post those on there, and those take time to edit, and it's honestly I shouldn't be making the music videos anymore anyways.
At least you're aware though, because I mean, I listen. TikTok has helped me out a lot too. So I'm just nobody. So it's like, at least you're aware. It's fucking crazy how one video can like completely change like your fucking perspective in the industry.
Yeah,
fucking crazy, dude.
So how was tour? Tell us everything.
Awesome. It's fucking crazy. Like, we didn't expect any of that at all. It was like, dude, we have done 10 plus shitty DIY tours in our career.
Mm-hmm.
We had like.
Now, what do you mean by shitty? Like playing for nobody? You're not getting your guarantee? Like you're not getting paid from the promoter? Okay.
It's all of the above. And a lot of it was just like sometimes there'd be a really good show, and then other times we would just have like a string of 3 shows where nobody came out, and sometimes it was really disheartening especially when you got to the point where 2015 to 2017 we did probably like 6 or 7 tours, and that was before we released Better Off. And then we released Better Off. We go on our first support tour for a band back in the day called Rest Repose. You were talking about Jared Dines earlier. That was his band.
Mm-hmm. Record, yep.
And we did a full U.S. tour with them. And then that did really well for us. And then immediately after we released Better Off. So then that was the first little like step up that we ever had as far as counting on a couple people being at some shows here in the future. So then we did a 2019 full US, and there were some great shows. Mm-hmm. Like I think the best show was probably the last show of the tour, which was Salt Lake City. Salt Lake has always done well for us in Utah in general. And we that was an awesome show. And but just on that tour, there were also a bunch of bunk ass dates where nobody was there. And it was just like, it was only our second time going to a bunch of these places. It was really fun for us and we got to do it, but it was a DIY tour.
Yeah.
And so anyways, getting to now, we only did 2 more tours after that. We did one short run with Don Broco and the East Coast, which was another huge bump for us, which was awesome. I was
gonna say that's huge, dude, because I think like wait, when was that, by the way?
It was fall of 2019. We filled in for Trash Boat on 4 days that they could not be there.
Okay, I think I remember that because they just got off the tour with Dance for Artificial Selection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, they were. It was their next tour after that. Their headlining U.S. tour.
Yes.
With I think Sleep On It was on it, as well as Trash Boat and Selfish Things. And we were gunning for that opening slot, didn't get it. Totally fine. And we did get those first 4 dates, and those were huge for us. Like we made so many big fans, just in those 4 days, and then we did a little full, like, West Coast DIY, same shit. Some shows where it sucked. Played Chain Reaction for the first time ever, and the show didn't get promoted at all, so there were like 15 people there.
Fuck.
So fast forward, 2 years, we are finally playing shows again, and we start booking this one, and we're like, we have a feeling this one's gonna do better because we're releasing a new album. We've had 2 years to grow. Like, we think, we're like crossing our fingers, like this is gonna do better, right? But we were all kind of nervous. Like, we were like, what if it doesn't? And we go back out and it's the same fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And boy, we were right. It was different, and we were blown the fuck away by how many people came out to each show. We were at 150 average. Like,
the socials kind of looked like every show was booked for sure.
It was
to an extreme. Yeah.
It was
wow.
For us.
Oh, I love that for you guys.
We are a humble small band that has been grinding for a long time, and the fact that many people came out to the shows, we were so floored by it. And I think Sacramento was probably the biggest one. It was like 213 paid, and we were like, this has never fucking happened to us. Like, what the hell is going on?
Was it just the West Coast?
Yeah, it was just West Coast. It was only 11 days, but it was 11 days with no days off, which we are never doing again.
Right. Oh, it's difficult. I mean, Salt Lake was like the second date, so like you knew you were going back to something special. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. Salt Lake was great. Dude, it was just like lines at our merch table, so like forever. This is something that's completely new to us, and we were like, we kind of couldn't believe it, and so it was very overwhelming in the best way. And part of me was like, this is because we had no days off and there were so many people, and the set is so much harder now. Like, these new songs are so much harder to play than the Better Off songs. It was one of those things that halfway through we were fucking exhausted. And it was the Chain Reaction show that I think was the night that I was like, dude, I'm burnt out. And unfortunately, that was like the worst performance I had the whole tour. And it was one of the most important shows because there were a bunch of people there that we really wanted to impress. And somebody filmed the whole set, and it looks awesome. And it was like our worst performance.
Fuck.
I think we're gonna post that pretty soon because we're gonna do it regardless. It's like we're not that worried about it. But you guys can go watch it and you'd be like, a couple things in here that
I don't know, dude. I mean, every artist is a critic to themselves, which is healthy, but at the same time, like, dude, I mean, like, I'm sure it wasn't too noticeable. And like, not only that, man, like, that's not easy. Like, especially with everything you're saying, like how, like, and being a vocalist, like, I mean, were you resting? Were you not talking? Like, I'm sure that was also that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, so like
I used to have to baby my voice on tours, right? I used, like, between 2015 and 2018, I would have to baby my voice a lot. But 2019 came around and I got to the point where I was like, my voice was killing it. I didn't have to baby it anymore. Like, obviously I had to get enough sleep and I had to drink enough water, but I didn't have to do the no talking thing anymore. And I could just, like, bust out the set and have no problem. And I was kind of expecting to go into this tour with the exact same disposition, and I was fucking so wrong because this set is so much harder than the Better Off set to sing. And so I had to go, dude, I'm starting from square one again. I'm babying my voice. But I'm not starting from square one because I'm doing way harder shit and it's going to make me a better singer. So
right.
I'm happy I'm doing that. But yes, I had to baby my voice. I had to, like, get as much sleep as I possibly could. I usually do the night drives, and so I was going to bed at like 4 or 5, and then I'll wake up around 3 p.m. just because I have to sleep as much as possible.
Sounds right. Yeah, exactly. What was the oh shit moment, dude, on that tour? Like, wow, this is like different as fuck.
Probably what was day 3? So it was Spokane. It was
Las Vegas was day 3.
Thank you. It was probably.
What, do you have the routing up on your computer right now?
Literally have a Google Doc, like, fucking. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that was too quick. Too quick.
I think the oh shit moment was either in Las Vegas or it was in Fresno, because Fresno, we were like, we had a great string of 4 shows that did super well, and we were like, Fresno's gonna take us down a peg. Like, not a lot of people live there. We were anticipating like that was gonna be the one where we were gonna be like, all right, now that the curtain has been pulled back, we are still the same band, and Fresno was one of the best shows. So we got there and it was fucking great. And we were like, okay, when is this going to hit us? Like, when are we going to get the reality check moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to get the dud show? And
Man,
not a single show was a dud.
That's so
I think
sick.
every single show on this tour, we did more in merch than the best show on the 2019 full US.
wow.
And that was with Don Bracco.
Every single show. No. Oh, better than all 4 of those dates too.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
So I'm not trying to brag. It's more like a
No. It's not a brag, dude.
forward.
It's a humble brag, and like it's just
No,
it's facts.
That's something to be so proud of. Like, that's so awesome.
It is a new feeling for us.
Also,
And I feel like not to like to our own horn with the East Coast and even the Midwest, but like that genre does even better here. So like
It does. It absolutely does.
So like when you keep going east, like I feel like you're not like it's gonna be the same.
Yep, I agree. I think so.
Yeah, like that's incredible.
We already have our plans for coming out there. We will probably be there around February.
sick.
So
Okay, now we talking beginning of February or the end of February? Because I have plans for the end of February.
We're gonna be on the East Coast, like February 20th area.
So you have to
All
change that for Shana. Like you can't. You might have to.
Sorry,
Black
not allowed.
list
I
those
think
dates.
I've already said way too much. People are gonna hear this and be like, "What the fuck are they?" They
All
haven't
right,
talked about anything."
Brian. Let's take a step back. I'll get you out of this. All right, dude. So like, I think, dude. That's great that you were in Vegas around that date too. It says October 22nd because the emo night, which you didn't have to compete with in Vegas, was also a fucking huge show, and that was between the 14th and the 17th. So you guys really fucking missed that bullet. Dance Gavin dancing Golden Necklace with Kurt Travis, like he was playing in a venue far from Electric Factory, and I was like, dude, what is like the worst chances that like they're playing in the same city? Like, not that it's a bad thing, but you know there's competition when that kind of shit happens.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, you can only go to one show unless you're splitting up your time.
Essentially, yeah. Which like, does anybody really do that? The only time you can do that is at Warped Tour, where it's like, well, if I fucking catch 3 songs for this band, then I go and run to the other stage.
Exactly.
So, fucking.
I was gonna say a perfect example. I guess this isn't quite as close as Kurt Travis and Dance Gavin is, but just the other night, Neck Deep was here, and the Tiny Moving Parts Capstan Belmont tour was also here. And I do understand that was not their biggest show of the tour. I mean, Neck Deep was right, like not far away. The venue wasn't. And so anyways, yeah, good example.
Dude, it's what happens. It's just the industry and how it works out, man. Like if you're playing too close to another similar genre, there are going to be people like, who do I choose?
Right.
What are we going to do?
I don't think we had to compete with anybody, which was really nice.
That's what all right. That's basically the conclusion of what I was trying to say. I was like, dude, I don't think there was any competition out there. It's not really competition. Yeah. It's more like, oh man, like now there's 2 shows. Now people got to flip coins on who they want to see.
I mean, it's going to split up. We were going to have to split our crowd a little bit because I know Dollskin was going to be playing in Salt Lake City as well on the same night, and they're friends of ours, and we were there was a moment of talking about merging the shows.
That's interesting.
That would have been cool.
The promoter ended up saying no, not because he sucks. He doesn't suck. He's awesome. But no, it's because he was like, I got these locals. I'd have to kick some of the locals off. It'd be too big of a show.
I get it, dude. Sometimes they drive the numbers, you know.
Yeah, he was like, I can't do that to any of my guys, and we were like, all right. And then Dollskin ended up having to cancel that show anyways, so we didn't. Yeah, we didn't split the crowd. It definitely, in the realm of not quote unquote competition, but
Right.
similar crowds wanting to go to each show, they're gonna have to pick one, and so both of the crowds are gonna suffer from it.
Yeah, seriously. And going back to this album, so it's like dissecting it. I talked about the whole R&B influence, but I also noticed that you have a couple features. One of them being Yvette Young from Covet, which was very, very interesting. She wasn't the most prominent feature vocal, but like it was very refreshing to hear her like kind of like, I would say octave you in a way, like towards the end of the song. And then you have Jeff Loomis and Veil of Maya, which was like that completely like shocked the fuck out of me. I was like, wait, what is happening? But we'll start with Yvette first.
John and Yvette are friends. John is our guitarist.
Yes.
And he was like, I'd love to get Yvette on a song. One day he's like, hey, you want to be on a song? And she was like, yeah. That's pretty much it.
But it works. Like her voice and even like Covet works with like the new sound that you're going with. It's like a perfect feature.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think one of the other things that maybe she was excited about, I don't know, I was excited about this. I feel like every like metal dude and their grandma just like goes nuts over her shred stuff. But we were like, dude, she's a phenomenal singer. I kind of want to highlight that. Right. And so we were like, dude, fuck getting her as a guitar feature. Like, obviously she's an incredible guitarist, but we would love to have her do something different that people are going to be not expecting. And I think it worked out super well. I mean, I've always been, this is funny that I'm into like pop and R&B and I have this opinion about it, but I've always been partial to features that are not like one verse just wedged into a song. You know what I mean? I've always been partial to features that kind of flow with what the vocalist has going on already. And so same thing with Lucas from Veil of Maya. He's just, all he does in Danger is, I'm sure you were going to move on to that next.
Yeah, it's fine. You can do it for me. You're making my job easy, dude. I'm just gonna sit here and put my feet up. You know what I mean? Fuck, dude.
All I had him do in Danger was like supplement my vocals in the second chorus. And there's a couple parts where he peeks out by himself, like,
yeah, you can hear it's distinct.
I'm losing it. Yeah, that's him. But so Lucas is a different story. We met him in Minneapolis on our 2019 Full US because we were playing a show with his other band, The Airway, and we played with them. I am a huge Veil of Maya fan, and I have been for a long time. And I was a little like nervous. I was like, wait, what the fuck is he doing here? But he was a super nice, cool guy. And we talked to him, and afterwards we went and grabbed a beer, and it was totally chill and totally normal. And we were talking to him, and ever since then, him and I just kept in touch. We were just texting, and eventually we were finishing Danger, and I was like, dude, this second chorus needs something else. And it like that, I was immediately like, oh, dude, I gotta get Lucas. I gotta go get Lucas on this. To clarify, the only reason it says Yvette Young, Jeff Loomis, but then his says Veil of Maya is literally just because of how Spotify structures how they do other artists, and because they link to an artist page. And Lucas is the only one of those three that doesn't have his own artist page.
Yes,
so
correct.
That is just to explain why it says Veil of Maya. No other members were involved in that. It was just Lucas. But it was literally just for the sake of Spotify and Apple Music linking to artists.
Makes sense.
Got to adapt to the modern framework.
Yeah, now John's got to also fucking shred Jeff's solo. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, that's never gonna happen.
It's like a prog metal fucking solo. I was like, no
now
shit.
I'd love to talk about Jeff. So as we were recording, we were working with an engineer named Aaron Smith here in Seattle. He actually used to mix and master all of our stuff, but he's more of a metal guy, which is why some of our older mixes might sound a little more like beefy or metal. So we still record with him often, but we'll have somebody else mix it. In this case, it was Seb from Neck Deep, and but when we were recording with him at his studio, he also does all of Jeff Loomis's solo stuff. He mix and masters that. And I think I had like a placeholder guitar solo at the end of that, because when we were in the pre-pro process with Sky, this is important. I don't know if I mentioned this. So Sky from Issues was the producer on this album. He is also the one who played bass, and he had a huge part in rearranging some of these songs, like structure-wise, because he was producing it. Danger is one that got probably the biggest rearranging, and the ending is what happened. So when Sky heard what we had, that was just a bridge at the time, and he was like, dude, you got to end with this. So I promise this is relevant. Anyway, so
I'm so fucking interested in this. Like, please, dude, please go on, because the fact that we're making like relations to Carter's fucking vocals and Tillion's and now Sky's involved, like this is fucking like it's too real right now. So I'm just like, all right, dude, that's like funny. You're making me feel better. Like
Sky is the fucking homie. We love that guy so much.
He's touring with 21 Pilots too, or he like plays with them and shit, dude. Like,
isn't that fucking insane?
Fucking awesome. I love that for him. He's so fucking talented. Like,
we are so stoked for him. Anyway, so when we were sitting at John's house doing the pre-production for Danger, he was like, dude, rip a solo. And I was like, all right. So I sit down and I just kind of like put together like a noodly little thing. And it was pretty cool. I liked it. I kind of want to dig it up and listen because I haven't heard it since then. But we had that as a placeholder when we were recording Danger. And John was like, dude, we got to get like a fucking ripping guitar solo. And I was like, you don't think my guitar solo is ripping?
What are you trying to say, bud?
No, I knew what it was. But and so Aaron literally goes like, I could ask Jeff if he wants to rip a solo, and we were like, really?
So
it'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
And so he totally did. And the funniest part was he messaged us the day he had wrote it. That night he was like, hey guys, I'm almost done with the solo. It's been like 10 hours and my fingers are bleeding. And we were like, you did not have to go this hard. Like, you could have spent like 5 minutes jamming and we probably would have loved it.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's cool.
He wrote one of the sickest guitar solos I've ever heard in my life. And we were like, this has to go in the song. And originally the way the structure worked was that it was going to fade out or like over the solo, but we were like, dude, we can't cut this fucking solo. So we literally extended the song.
Fuck yeah, because it works. Because I like it. Like,
anyways,
it's not like a 10-minute song like Taylor Swift, because she fucking revolutionized the industry with 10-minute songs. But like what, Shana?
I mean, I don't know. She herself did that, but
no, it's just a joke. I think ever since I saw the meme for like prog metal musicians and bands, like seeing Taylor Swift getting like the glory of having that 10-minute song, they're just all crying memes, or like that's Michael Jordan crying memes, because like every fucking prog metal band has like a 10-minute song somewhere. You know what I mean? Tool, Periphery.
When I saw that, I didn't realize how much like it was a big thing, and I'm like, has this not been a thing for like? How are people just catching on to 10-minute songs? Also, like, isn't Bohemian Rhapsody a thing that the song everyone knows about? That's like a 7-minute song.
I was just gonna say it's like a 7-minute song. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean,
Coheed is cringing right now.
Claudia's listening to this right now. He's like, God damn it, guys! Like, fucking.
I've been doing this fucking shit since 2002.
Say my name.
Death Cab for Cutie. Not I'll Follow You Into the Dark. You gotta spend some time, love. You gotta spend some time. Possess Your Heart. I Will Possess Your Heart. Mm-hmm. That has a 4-minute and 30-second intro of just music.
Yep. Yeah. It's
and
like
then another 4 or 5 minute of like the actual singing.
Yep. It's 8 minutes and 25 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I fast forward through 4 minutes and 30 seconds to get to it. It's a long song. I'm like, come on, guys. Let's go.
I don't blame you, dude.
You didn't torrent the radio edit?
Might as well at that point. Fuck. Yeah.
The radio edit is actually just the 4-minute something song. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Danger's a 5-minute song, which is great. And it's 11 songs on the album, dude. It's fantastic. Like I'm just so stoked for like it doing so well right out of the gate. That's what I was like mostly stoked for. Considering the fact like you were able to tour on this, I just know we had this conversation with Jordan Black. It's so weird. We go in these like interviews where it's like specific genres at a time. Like I was doing a lot of like swancore prog rock bands at one point, and now I'm doing pop punk, and Shana's doing pop punk. Wait, Shana, you weren't there for Youth Fountain, but we did a lot of Pure Noise records. Like it was
First
fucking
of all,
crazy,
you
dude.
need to enunciate Youth Fountain, because every time you say Youth Fountain, it sounds like newfound.
Do I say that?
Here.
Huh?
Dan showed up. We're gonna start this interview over.
All right. I can't even get over every time I have to process that you're saying Youth Fountain. I don't know if you saw, my face glazes over and I'm like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, Youth
I'm
Fountain.
gonna call you out every time you say Youth Fountain.
Is it worth it to get Dan in here?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
not?
Have him sit down.
He just
dude.
showed up.
Yeah.
I will have to take out my head.
That's okay.
I hope it doesn't echo too much. Are you busy? Do you have a second?
I was here for Youth Fountain, but I couldn't do it. I was doing something that day.
Yeah, I know, but it's crazy that we were going on these like weird, like specific genres or labels, like one at a time. Like it'll be in a row. How was downtown, dude? We heard you were in downtown Seattle.
Went to a very bougie art gallery and bought nothing because it was expensive.
So what is the future of the home team right now? So like I'm sure it's gonna be like touring, like we already talked about, like maybe on the East Coast, like come the new year and such. Like what is the goals and ambitions that you want to accomplish to take that next step?
I mean, our ultimate goal has always been to make the band like the full-time gig for all of us. Like this is the thing that pays our bills, and we're able to like devote 100% of our time and quit our jobs and put everything into the band. That's always been the end goal. I think we're all delusional. Every musician who starts a band thinks they're going to be the next one to make it. I've thought that since I was 15. I've always thought the next record was the one. I feel it now more than ever. But I've been wrong every time in the past. So we'll see how this one goes. But no, we're feeling really good about it. The response to the record has been just insanely positive. We have our first ever support tours coming up next year, which we haven't announced yet. None of them are ready to announce, but we got the offers and told them yes. And barring anything, them canceling the tours, hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be able to announce them.
Fuck
Don't
yeah,
say
that's
these
awesome.
things. No canceling.
No canceling. No canceling shows. No canceling tours, dude. Like, cause then everybody gets all hyped up, like, and then it just doesn't happen. Like My Chem, like love My Chem, but dude, now they're pushing, I think, to 2023 soon. So we'll see.
No.
They did it for Australia.
The Australian tour is 2023 now. But we
On
can't
a selfish level.
We can't even
I work in
We can't
accounting.
ship stuff there.
Yeah, Australia has
yeah.
they've banned the US or USPS from shipping there, so we have like merch orders in our merch store that we just can't send out. So we just have to tell everyone like, hey, whenever Australia lifts its package ban, we'll send you stuff.
Yep.
They're going on full lockdown. Like they're not fucking around. They're like nothing's getting in and out of this fucking country.
Yep.
Crazy times we live in.
On a purely selfish note, I work in accounting at Live Nation, and I don't want to do refunds.
Oh man, I imagine refunds are a huge part of your job now.
I just started. I was at Live Nation, then I left, and I came back mid-October. So like I didn't do like the COVID refunds,
Yeah.
thankfully. But like I have friends that were in accounting at Live Nation, and like no, I would never. It's a lot of work. So,
No kidding.
yeah.
The hope is that this record kind of brings us to the next level. It feels like things are progressing in a positive way. Like on our last tour, there were way more people than we expected. We were not prepared for it. We thought it was going to be cool. We didn't think it was going to be like a couple sold out shows cool. Like that was a complete shock to us. Like going to venues and having like a literal line outside. Probably, I think the thing that I noticed the most, because I've always been like our TM, is that the venues were treating us like a real band. Like,
Oh, I love that for you.
Like I've always felt that there's, like we were on tour and we brought some people, but it was kind of like, yeah, you're doing your little show, you're playing in your little band. Like that's kind of the reaction we got, like from a lot of the venue staff. This time, it was the first time where like there were extra security guards at every show because there were so many people. The people, like, they gave us green room information, and it was like the couple nights we got buyouts. That's a new thing for us. We've never, like, promoters and venues have never just like given us the extra buyout. It's always been our little door deal. We definitely were treated like, oh yeah, we definitely want you to come back. Thank you so much. Like, people were super nice. So that being treated like a real band was pretty cool. I like that part.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine. I'm pulling up IG right now. I want to get it to come through on this video. Haha. This is for the YouTube pleasure. So, unfortunately, you guys can't see it right now, but I'm pulling up the Instagram. So many emotions today. Yeah, dude, that's a sold out show. That's a sold out show. Wow, that one's not a sold out show. You said you only had 2 sold out shows, but they all look sold out, which is fucking awesome. So, like, and Brian was like, oh, dude, like, literally, like, fucking 3rd show in, which was in Vegas. He's like, we knew, we're like, oh shit, like, this is gonna be a sick tour for 11 days, like.
Pretty much. I think Dan's, you were talking about oh shit moment earlier. I think Dan's oh shit moment was definitely when we realized we needed to order more merch.
Oh, I had 2. So the first one, first night we sold out of 1 shirt in 1 size and that was what we had allotted for the whole tour. And I was like, this was wild. We'll see what the next night is going to be like. And the next night we sold out of a couple other things. So I emailed our merch guy down in LA, and I was like, dude, whatever you got, just start reprinting the designs, whatever shirts you have. And so we ordered like another 200 something shirts, and by the time we got back home to Seattle, like, they were gone. So that was a total new one. For me personally, my first, I think we're onto something moment was I forgot to charge my Sonic Hair toothbrush before I left. And so at the second night, my electric toothbrush was dead. And so I just posted on, I think I posted on Twitter, like, hey, if anyone has the charger for this toothbrush and is coming to the show tonight, can you bring one? And a toothbrush charger showed up to me like an hour later. So I got the charger in the green room, gave it back to them. That was like oh shit, we're on our way.
I need help, so and it happens for me. It's like, please help, my teeth. And it's like, dude, fucking here you go, bro. Just give it back when you're done. So this is the sophomore album off of Revival Recordings, and I like, it's not my business to know the contract, but leading into this question, I've been asking guests more often to see what the opinion is between their own interpretation of what I'm going to ask, and that is kind of like how major sports athletes have their contracts put out there into the public. Would you think it would be a good idea if artists and bands were to start doing that with their labels as public information, or would you like to keep that to yourself?
I think that there's probably a little bit of, I think a lot of bands would be embarrassed to put out their contracts to show what they agreed to.
Because it's usually pretty egregious.
Do you think it would revolutionize the industry?
I think we're in the middle of a big shift. You're seeing a lot of bands switch to digital distribution deals instead of record label deals. First thing I can think of is Brand of Sacrifice. They put out a record with Blood Blast. And they're basically, besides Lorna Shore, they're kind of like top dogs in deathcore right now.
Yeah.
And I've talked to one of the guitarists. We had one of those moments where he was a fan of us, I was a fan of him, and we were like, oh my God, I love your band.
That's sick.
But I chatted with one of the guitarists a little bit, and basically the deal that you get from a digital distribution contract seems way better than what a record label deal would offer. So I think the industry is going to be transitioning to that model a bunch. And I think a lot of the smaller labels are going to have a hard time keeping up, because if you can't, they'll have to start offering similar deals, which is just going to be less money for them, more money for the artist. I think I'm pro artists putting their contracts out there. I don't think there should be anything to hide. Like, if the label is like nervous about the public knowing the deals that they're running, then they're probably running unfair deals.
Correct.
So I think a lot of the fans would be shocked at the percentage breakdowns between labels and the artists. I mean, we're seeing what Between You and Me has been dragging Hopeless through the fucking mud.
They really have
over the past like 2 months. So like they literally, they're just tweeting out like "fuck our label" over and over again.
Fuck our label.
So
which honestly is sick for them.
Yeah, I don't know anything about what's going on. I just see what's going on Twitter.
Seriously, I think the pro for that is like to protect the artists and the bands in general from labels like Victory Records. Like, I don't know specific deals and such. Like, I'm not opposed to releasing my label with CI or my contract with CI Records. I think it would have to be a voluntary. I can't fucking say it. It could be like you just volunteer to fucking show your contract. I think the cons of it could be like, some fans just like fucking rookies with their deals, like they get like an extension or they get like a re-signage and like, oh, I'm making so much money, blah blah blah. And like, fuck that, dude. That's just people's opinions. But I think it's just for my thought process of the whole concept is like to protect the artists and the bands, like in general. Like, I'm sure the bigger bands don't want to do that, but like I think to normalize like discussing and sharing what we have on the table with some of these record labels could potentially save a couple bands' careers.
I have been toying around with the idea. I haven't figured out how to do this in a way that seems not fair, but in a way that seems like positive, I guess. I've been toying with the idea of doing like on our Patreon kind of like a yearly financial wrap up, and like just showing people what the like realities of how much money we make and how much money we have to spend is. For our Patreon, we get into pretty in-depth discussions about like the money and what things look like and the logistics of running a band. Because
they're curious.
Yeah,
it's a business,
exactly. So. And one of the things that we're finding now is that like as the things we're doing get bigger, the expenses along with it get bigger, and there's like nothing we can do to mitigate some of those things. Like, now that we're at a point where we have to bring a sound guy with us, and we have to bring a merch person, and we have to have like a content person. Mm-hmm. If we go to a hotel room, we have to get 2 hotel rooms because we just can't fit 7 people in a room anymore. We could when it was like the 4 or 5 of us in the band and like our one close buddy, like, yeah, we could fit 6 guys who are all very close in the same room. But now that we're getting to the point where like we're having to hire people that aren't our like childhood friends, we need to get separate hotel rooms. So the cost anytime we do that, it's just immediately doubled. Now we have to pay, like we can't get away with our buddy doing merch for $5 a day because he's our home and he wants to roll with us for 2 weeks. Like, now we have to hire people who are doing this and trying to make a living. So we have to pay, $75, $100 a day or whatever for these people to come out with us.
Which is still a great price, by the way.
Yeah, like
it is a great price.
Yeah. If they were working in the corporate world, they'd make like double or triple that.
Yeah, seriously.
So, been kind of toying with the idea of like, how do we kind of normalize sharing the financials and like we don't I don't expect any artist to come out and be like, yeah, I made $2 million last year. Like, that's not what I'm getting at. But like, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, there was an artist that posted how much money like they made on a tour and they were complaining about how like they made no money. Mm-hmm. And the internet just fucking lit them up for being like, and it was like, but the perspectives that everyone comes at are like people are coming at it from the DIY perspective where they're like, fuck that, why do you need 2 hotel rooms a night? We're like, well, it's not like it's 4 friends who are getting 2 hotel rooms. It's like, you have when you're at the size where you have to have a light show and a content person and a tour manager and a sound person, like you can't guarantee that all these people are going to be willing to share a room and share a bed. So like you have to get them separate rooms. That's just the way it works.
Right. Exactly.
So, I remember that article.
Yeah,
it was an article.
And it was actually a friend of mine that pointed out like the varying levels to me, because I was coming at it from a DIY perspective where I was like, dude, we sleep in the van all the time. Like we get 1 hotel room when it's like, and that's like a treat.
That's a treat. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So like, was this band saying they need to get 3 hotel rooms? And my buddy, who was a touring sound guy, pointed out like, you really do, because like, I'm not going to share a room with 3 guys I don't know or share a bed with these people. So just, that
was the thing. I think the article just like didn't go in enough. They were like, they just said these are our financial, but they were like, this is why we need to do, like there was no further explanation, and it makes, especially the DIY community, they were like, fuck you. Coming from, especially like after COVID, when COVID had hit, like everyone was so concerned about the artists. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned about the artists, but like people didn't, the common person didn't understand crew behind that. And it's like, you saw all of these artists, even doing like some merch drops and doing live streams and this, and you can only do that so much, like people have talked about time and time again, but like there are so many people behind what you guys do that like nothing, they just suffered, and you guys suffered too, but like just to discuss the financials of like, you need a sound guy and a tour manager and a merch manager and this and that, you like see behind the band, and then maybe there's just some understanding of like more people are getting paid than just the 4 guys playing music. So
yeah, and a lot of those positions, it's not like a luxury. It's past the point of being a luxury. Like for us, to have a merch person on our last tour, like multiple nights, it's just a line the whole time. And like one night our merch person wasn't there, and Brian was running merch, and he literally had to text me, and he was like, dude, if I keep doing merch and talking to people, I'm gonna lose my voice. So like he needed to not talk to people for 3 hours before the show, for the sake of the performance. So I had to go and do that. And then because I was there, I wasn't able to go and like do some of the setup stuff that we needed to do. So other people, like if we didn't have our sound person on the road with us, I don't know how we would have set everything up, because we would have had to either not have merch being sold or not had the stage set up properly. Like these jobs had to get, like there were too many things requiring too much time for just 4 of us to handle it all. And that's assuming all of us can just work at 100% capacity the whole night with no breaks. So like these crew positions, it's weird because we've never felt like this. Like the last tour we did, did we bring anyone on our last tour?
I think it was just us 4.
Yeah,
wow,
it was just
that's
us.
A lot of work
it was just
for
us.
4 dudes.
That's the thing, though. It wasn't that much work because there weren't that many people there. So it was like merch. You just sit there for a little bit, and you're on your phone, messing around or whatever.
Yeah, but imagine if it was packed. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
This is the first time we felt like
we had to have other people.
Yeah, and there were a couple nights where the sound person at the venue was not going to cut it, and the things that we were bringing to the stage, it could not get done without a person who knew our sound and was like familiar with our set already. So like that job was required.
Mm-hmm.
Merch person required.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, the photographer was with the other band, so we just paid the person that was already working for them. Otherwise,
would have had to have one of those too.
If you don't have content in 2020, like in 2021,
what are you doing?
You literally cannot survive without content.
No.
So it's another job that's required.
You could technically like give the casual fan an idea, and I'm just using it as an example. Like I think this would be like really, really interesting to talk about because it's very relevant still, especially like when you want to inform someone who doesn't really understand. Like going back to the article, like they were upset that they weren't making money. Well, let's take this into perspective. Like the frontman for Shinedown, Brent Smith, he gave $10,000 to Spirit Box, which is a over the top like successful band who does it full time. Okay, why did he do that? Why did We Came as Romans not charge them a penny for their lighting package that they rented for them? Like, why? Oh, because no money's being made, because they have to pay for that kind of situation in order to have a full successful show. Because I saw We Came as Romans on the 10-year anniversary of Planet Seed tour, and their fucking lights and their visuals were sick. So like they're expensive as fuck. So like, rent, and like you're saying, like I think like if they understand on a mainstream level, I guess, and like basically the main question is like, why was money being donated to Spirit Box? Why did WeCar not charge them for rent? Oh, because it costs money to run that show. Like the venue's just the venue, and the promoters and that such. Like I don't know like everything, like every little detail about a process of going on a tour, because I've never like booked one. I just kind of like jump on and like go, but it's not cheap.
And the more legit the venue, the more expensive it is. So like a Live Nation venue has like a built-in operations expense for every single show, and a lot of the guarantees could be expense, like you get less than that. So, and if you have to do a backline and like this and that, and I mean like all of a sudden your guarantee is 10,000 and now it's 8,000, and then you have to pay everyone, and then you have to split it between 4 people, and like so many people don't understand that. So
yeah, and if you're past the point of like, we're fortunate enough that like we invested in like own our van. If you're past the point of being able to fit in a van and you have to rent a bandwagon or you have to rent a bus, because in order to run this tour you need 12 people, like you have like the bus company isn't going to cut you a deal. The bus company doesn't give a shit about like small bands or like up and coming artists. Like they need to get paid. And if even if you take the route of like, say you're trying to cut costs from not having a content person and you pay local photographers or someone, you need someone to manage that conversation with each local photographer. So you have to have someone doing that. So even if you don't bring another body with you, you have to have someone who like coordinates all that with each person every night. You have to pay for all the merch. Like you don't just like, some bands I'm sure have deals where they can sell back their merch because they'll sell it online and the company handles that. But like, that's not what we have set up. We pay for merch up front, and then if we don't sell it, we have that until we sell it.
And now merch is even more expensive because of post-COVID, and there's a shortage of everything.
Literally a shortage of vinyl. Like Pure Noise made like a statement the other day. Like,
you can't even get a vinyl pressed.
No.
So
it's crazy.
I mean, I love talking music.
Yeah, ours won't be ready until
I go for like 7 hours.
Super thankful that Right Through Me came through my For You page. It hit right off the bat. This album that you released on October 22nd is phenomenal, Slow Bloom, and I'm so stoked for the future for what you guys have, and we'll definitely have to see you come out in the new year on the East Coast in Philadelphia. So we'll see what happens. But Brian and Dan, appreciate you guys coming by. It was super cool talking to you.
Of course, thanks for having us.